And again, everything running smooth at this hour. WCRN News Time, 6:06 on this, a Monday, January 7th. Up and at 'em, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Let's go to the phones on News and Talk Radio, WCRN. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing today, Hank?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to understand why you're having problems understanding why, was it Brian Ahern?
Brian
and
Ahern.
I are not in the same party. How many times do I have to tell you this?
Okay, but you are. I think he might argue that you are.
Well, Q and Al Gordon there might argue a lot of things that aren't true, but it doesn't really affect me much.
Well, but I mean, so you're not a big tent. I mean, the Democrats would, for example, kind of go with, hey, I don't agree with everything, this guy over here thinks, but it's a big tent, and okay, they're Democrats too. To me, Brian Ahern might argue, hey, you know what? I don't agree with everything that Matt from Marlboro says, but it's a big tent. He wants you to be there. He wants you to be a Republican. I find you guys meaning Tea Party guys, more and more say, use guys, saying more and more, no. No, we're not. I mean, but right now, we are still the same party. Tea Party members run as Republicans.
So far.
Right.
Look, the fact is that the Tea Party movement is a movement about ideas, fiscal solvency, transparency. These are things that are problematic for both Republicans and Democrats. They're problematic for people in all levels of government. The fact that I spend all my time here on the phone telling you about the sins of the Democrats is because Democrats are holding the power, and that's why they're able to commit the sin. If we were in a different state and Republicans were in power, I'd be calling you up and telling you how bad the Republicans suck. Because it's endemic when we have a one-party system, when you have a state that is dominated by a political machine, that you end up with this sort of consolidation of power, and, power corrupts, and the corruption is rampant in our
Well, I will agree that before the Tea Party, it seems to me that although you had Democrats and Republicans, you really had one party in some ways, because both parties were happy to spend. Both parties were happy to expand the welfare state. Both parties were happy to as they still are, to kick the can down the road. You didn't really have, the Republicans said they were the party of small government. Boy, I didn't see it for about 10 or 15, 20 years.
Yeah, show me the small government that Mitt Romney inflicted upon our Commonwealth. Show me the
George W. Bush.
That George W. Bush and the TSA. How many times have I called up and told you how I don't want my junk touched? And, I'm supposed to somehow feel that this is compassionate conservative in practice? No. We need to argue first principles. The first principle is the very simplest principle. The government that governs least governs best. And these people don't want to talk about that. We have Scott Brown, who definitely benefited from an outpouring of Tea Party support because it was a moment. It was the proper place.
All right, here's my big thing. So first of all, and you're rolling tape on this, right?
Yes.
All right, because we'll get to a point in a moment where somebody will be mad. Tea Party candidate to take on Scott Brown, yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
In the general and in the primary.
Right. Now, in the general and the primary, that's interesting. So, yeah, that's a good point. Run somebody as an actual Tea Party candidate. Now here's my point.
Actually, we don't even have to go that far.
Right.
Because there's 6 other parties that we could put him on up under.
I guess you could, but do you really want to be the Natural Law Party or whatever else? Now activate
Green Party candidate.
Now, Matt, activate Worcester. Goes out and gets people activated, obviously, a la their name, and can fight and can do all of these things. But is activate Worcester? Is my favorite Chris Pinto? Is he the face of the party that is going to get somebody elected, or am I back to being pragmatic and saying, hey, a Scott Brown is a whole lot more electable than somebody that a lot of people are going to see as, oh, is this the angry white man that everybody is talking about? Right?
I definitely think that if you wanted to put a picture up of the angry white man, that Chris Pinto may be that person.
Right. So I mean, whether you agree with him or not, and that's probably, he's not going to run. I understand that he's going to try and help people get elected, but is that so then at that point, Activate Worcester can help someone get elected, but if it becomes about Activate Worcester and it becomes about somebody writing columns and saying, hey, these guys are trying to stop, immigrants from voting or whatever is going to be written, pragmatically, can you get somebody associated with that elected as opposed to, I want to get somebody in the office who's got an R next to their name, Scott Brown's the guy.
And to what end? What does that get me? It gets me the NDAA? Come on. I don't understand why I want Scott Brown elected because he has an R next to his name, if when he goes there he does things that are antithetical to my ideal.
Well, and I'll go back to what Patrick said in the last hour, because 60% of the time he's going to give you what you want. He's going to vote with you 60% of the time. You're not going to get 90%.
And Benedict Arnold was the hero of Saratoga, but what do we remember him for?
Now let me go to John from East Brookfield, who called up last week. John from East Brookfield says, what I just said about Patrick, and I happen to be more along the pragmatic lines of, who you going to be able to get elected in Massachusetts.
No.
My point there being is if I go out there and I vote for the Tea Party candidate, does he have a shot in Massachusetts of getting elected?
Absolutely.
All right, and that's what John says, too. Thanks, Matt. That's John's argument, too. John says, hey, listen, you keep going with Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney can get elected. On a national level. John McCain because John McCain can be elected. Scott Brown because Scott Brown can be elected. Wait a minute. They lost.